Alright, so we've gone through all the compartments on the exterior of the rescue along the sides. Now we're going to check out all the coffin compartments up here. So we recently bought all new harnesses. Up here we have 6 harnesses. We have 4, they're all Petzl Class 3 harnesses. We have 4 mediums, which fit just about everybody. We have 1 large and we have 1 small. We also have 8 rescue helmets, so these are all stacked in here. We have 4 PFDs, personal flotation devices, life vests, and then we have 3 rope bags for water rescue. We also have a case of water in here on top of the case, or half case of water that we have down in the side compartment. And also up here is the air reel. So our blue air reel here that comes out of the cascade compartment, this is where the reel is actually located. So when we're rewinding this after it's used, we always want somebody up here watching it as it's being rewound to make sure that it doesn't get bound up in that reel. First, we can see down here we have an ABC extinguisher or a CO2 extinguisher. We have a Class D extinguisher there, and we have our 6 traffic cones. Also up here in the walkway is our propane tank for our propane torch setup, and our go jacks. You may remember those being in the cribbing compartment on the top shelf before. They are now located up here in the light tower well. A lot has changed in this compartment here. We have the Yates spec pack. This will be gone through in much more detail in the video that we make about rope systems and ropes and rigging equipment. But this has replaced our sked. This is a harness for packaging patients, and it can be used in a vertical or a horizontal fashion. So for confined space incidents or oftentimes any rope rescue, we're going to be using our Yates spec pack. We have a smoke ejector or a negative pressure fan along with the hanger for it. We have a noose pole or a catch pole if we have any animals on a scene that are causing us problems. We can at least restrain them so that we can do our job. You'll see a lot of these pieces of plywood up here. The plywood here is for structural collapse. So again, if we have a structural collapse call or any type of trench rescue call, something that you can do if you're not qualified in either of those things is to be staging this equipment along with our struts. And the final thing we have here is our confined space ventilation fan. So a lot of you may remember the old red fan that we had. It sort of looked like a negative pressure fan, and then we had a big yellow tube of hose along with that. This one has the hose built into it. So this is a contained unit, all-in-one confined space ventilation fan. So that's it for compartment 10 here. Next up here in compartment 9, we have miscellaneous absorbents. So we have a cache of absorbent socks here. We also have 2 5-gallon buckets of absorbent socks, and back here we have a ton of pig mats. Right here we have wedges, also for structural collapse. So much like we use our wedges for cribbing, these are to be used in structural collapse to help shore up structures or perhaps a trench collapse. So again, something that can be staged if need be. Also in here we have our one of our 2 extension cord reels. So just like with the air hose reel, while we're winding that up, somebody should be looking in there from above here to make sure that that's not getting wound into the reel. Moving over here, this is now compartment 12. We have our other extension cord reel or junction box reel. So watch out for that while we're winding it up. We have a spare wool blanket back here. We have our biohazard response bag. So this is actually split into 2 different bags here. This one here has 2 X large level B encapsulated suits, or I'm sorry, 5 2XL level B encapsulated suits. And then this bag here has Ty-Chem suits, large through 5XL, boot covers, over gloves, and chemical tape. So both of these have labels on them to say that while we're doing rig checks, we don't need to be opening them, mostly because just pulling these bags in and out, they're pretty heavy, and the last bags that we had in this compartment for that purpose got damaged just from pulling them in and out. So if we know that these haven't been touched, and we know that because I have this label on here, and there's a note on here that says, you know, if it's used to let me know and I will restock it. But if that label is tied around the zipper, then we know that it's good to go from the last time it was open, and those can just be checked as the bag being there. We have a megaphone in here for water rescue or any other sort of rescue call. We have a box of biohazard bags and a roll of biohazard bags. We have a roll of trash bags here for any other use. We have 2 portable sawhorses down in here for structural collapse. We are going to be working on getting a cache of plywood out at the Special Operations Center that can be used for structural collapse. So if we were to have a call for that type of thing, we can grab our cache of plywood, and then we have sawhorses here, and we can start cutting plywood to proper dimensions. So that's it for compartment 12. Moving on to compartment 13. This compartment is pretty simple, and again, we're going to go through a lot of our rope stuff in better detail in another video. But right now, this compartment is just filled with lifeline, our sked, so our rolled up plastic backboard Stokes basket, if you will. So it's just our sked, lifeline, and utility rope. So the utility rope is down towards the bottom more, because more often than not we're using lifeline, and the lifeline is up towards the top. So we have 300 and 200 foot sections of lifeline, and we have anywhere from 5 foot to 200 foot sections of utility rope. Our final coffin compartment here, compartment 14, has 2 rigging bags, or haul bags. We'll briefly go through these momentarily. These have changed a lot in the last 3 years, and that's why we're going to do a whole rope review, rope series. We have our evacuation triangle. This is brand new to the rescue. That is there even since our most recent rescue training. That is for vertical evacuations of patients. It sort of sits a patient in there like a seat. We have our pre-rigged 4-to-1 haul system. We have a bag of miscellaneous lengths of utility rope. 2 webbing bags, so both of these are just miscellaneous lengths of webbing. 2 edge protection bags, so these are made up of hard edge protection, like aluminum and steel rollers, as well as some soft edge protection, like old pieces of hose and rope wraps. Our highline pulley, if we ever have to make a highline system. And finally, we have 4, these came from the old hazmat rig, 4 MSA Class 3 harnesses. Now, these are not as intuitive or as nice as our new harnesses, but these are great for vertical entry. So if we just need somebody tied because they're going in a pipe, they're not actually going to be suspended or anything. Like I said, they're a little less intuitive, but they're great for being able to get muddy, or just having on that backup team outside who should have harnesses on just in case. They work great, they're in perfect shape. They're just not as high-tech and as nice as our brand new harnesses. So let's take a look inside of the haul bags here. Okay, so I've said it a bunch of times, but I'm gonna say it again. We'll be going through this in more detail in another video. But here's our rigging bag. So we do still have some of our older equipment, our bar rack, our figure 8, our Gibbs ascender. But we have a lot of new stuff in here. We have our rescue sender, which replaces the Gibbs ascender. We have an ascent and descent grab device. We have our ASAP lock, which replaces Prussics. Petzl Maestro, Petzl ID. They work as haul and descent devices. We have our Petzl Jag system, which is a miniature 3-to-1. All new pulleys. So we have these Omni pulleys that swivel. And then what's nice about these is we can press a button and open this up, and it could still be connected on a carabiner while we open this, rather than before where we would have had to disconnect our carabiner to open up our pulley. Up here we have webbing, Prussics, anchor straps in our side pocket here, and anchor plates and soft rope protection on the side there. So that is a super quick overview of this bag, just to give you an idea of what's in it. We're going to do, once we receive the rest of our equipment from Petzl, we're going to do a much heavier training on this, but that's the inside of the rope bag. The only other thing up here is in our small ladder compartment here. So just so that people remember, we do have an attic ladder in here if we ever need it. Right here, 10-foot attic ladder, as well as a 10-foot pike pole. So two things that I think we kind of forget about often, but they're up here. So that concludes the coffin compartments and the top of the rescue. If you have any questions on any of this stuff, just as with everything else, please feel free to ask me, and I hope this was beneficial.